A remote road leading to a remote town. A murder. Multiple suspects. An almost dismissive handling of the events by local lawmen. One man alone, pushing the boundaries of truth, and a lot of dust. It's a Western, right? Well, yes it is, but it's set in present-day outback Queensland. The main protagonist is an Indigenous detective, and the audience is in for a tension-filled 2-hour ride of twists, turns, and dead ends. Got your attention? Good. This is Mystery Road. Written and directed by Ivan Sen, Mystery Road drip feeds a well-crafted blend of stylish visuals, intrigue, insight, and tension. It's all set against a background of two cultures, attempting to coexist in a sort of distorted vision of a civilized place at a forgotten end of the world. Aaron Pedersen plays Detective Jay Swan, sporting a Stetson, a Winchester, and a keen instinct for seeking out the truth. It sounds like a cowboy cliche, and it could have fallen flat, but it doesn't. It works very, very well. Swan is a thinking man, wrought with trouble, his own broken family, his connection, or lack thereof, with both the Indigenous and non-Indigenous inhabitants of the town, and the blurred lines of right and wrong within the police force he's supposedly working with. I'm hard pushed to recall a character in an Aussie film as complex as Swan, a man with a foot in two cultures, not quite belonging to either, and the very people he's trying to help often unwilling to accept him. Pretty much no one is on his side. Pedersen does a top job with a performance that's understated and intimate, but we totally get what he's going through.
I've got nothing to say.
Tony.
A great example of this is a scene with his daughter, played by Trisha Whitten. She's one of a number of girls in the film who don't seem to be acting at all and who have some tenuous links to the murder victim. They're transfixed in conversations via text message, but almost incapable of conversation with another person in the here and now. To be applauded is the film's willingness not to shy away from some ugly situations, and also not spotlight them as some sort of an issue movie might do, for some sort of moral shock or shame value. There is drug use, there's abuse, there's sex between semi-complicit teenage girls and older men passing through the town. But there's no judgment, no morality lectures. Different inhabitants in this town use different means to get ahead, to fall by the wayside, or to just numb themselves from the too painful stuff around them. It's great to see that this isn't laid out for us like some obvious black fella, white fella version of a Miss Marple outback whodunit. Not here. The revelations are not so much about who did what, but who is going to lose what if either the truth comes to the surface or the underdog is allowed to rise too far above his or her station in this town, in this life. The ones who are already out in the cold fending for themselves, well, we get that loud and clear. So who's really top mongrel in the pack? What's the real question and the real mystery here? One conundrum-filled character, seemingly right in the middle of the pack, is Jono, played by a distinctly unplugged Hugo Weaving. He's an actor I find 4 times out of 5 just seems to be doing a really good job of collecting the paycheck with minimal effort, and then once in a while he does a triple backflip and delivers. Little Fish comes to mind, where he played the career-over sportsman, and here, playing a sly cop so deep in the grey area between friend and foe, neither the audience nor Jay Swan know what he's really up to. A scene in a Chinese restaurant over lunch, it's a brilliant tease and a tour de force for Weaving. Jay's ex-wife Mary, played by Tasma Walton, provides an insight into other facets of Jay's complex life and backstory. She's great in this role, and it's a real pity she doesn't have more screen time. In fact, I kind of find the intimate side of Jay's life, little that we do discover, to be more interesting than all the boys with their guns. Now, I'm not saying emasculate the script and turn it into a chick flick, that's totally against the law of westerns, right? But given all the women in this film are doped up to the eyeballs, angry as all get out, or incapable of communication, Mary's presence is perhaps an underutilised opportunity for reflection. You'll also spot a lot of familiar faces in the ensemble of support roles. Ryan Quanten, David Field, Jack Charles, who's absolutely delightful, Tony Barry, love what he does with the ice cream, Damien Walshe-Howling, and in a very odd cameo, Jack Thompson. In fact, I had to watch the film a second time to get what the scene with Jack was really all about and why it was given so much screen time to ultimately communicate a very small piece of information. Likewise, a scene with a flirtatious motel manager delightfully played by Zoe Carides. This leads to one criticism of the film. Are there just a few too many threads and too many red herrings overall? Now, I'm not questioning the crafting of individual scenes. Sen and his actors seem to know just when that moment of anticipation in a setup needs to be held and when the reaction or revelation needs to be placed to move the scene forward. Usually if details are clouding the flow of a film, they'll get trimmed and simplified at the film editing stage when a new pair of hands and eyes usually comes on board, part of the process. But with Sen as writer, director and editor, has the film ended up a little weighted down with too much of a good thing? Too many interesting little character quirks and director's favourite moments that ultimately reduce the impact of the film as a whole? There's a debate for any editors and directors out there. The wide cinemascope-styled aspect ratio is really well used, often compartmentalised by divisions within the frame, making interiors all the more claustrophobic and the exteriors all the more expansive. Filmed around Winton and Ipswich in Queensland, the film captures the flat ordinariness of a shabby and dusty town, under a harsh and unforgiving sun. Then contrasting with this are superb film noir scenes shot at dusk and dawn. 10 out of 10 for the way the breathing space is handled. Here is where Sen really proves he's a good storyteller who understands the medium he's working with. The moments of silence are just as important as moments of actions or any words. Now, two scenes in particular I felt kind of echoed Hitchcock's knack for allowing the lead character and the audience to just watch. This isn't about how fast can I get the information to the audience, but instead I'm going to show you this in real time, just as the character would see it and entirely without dialogue. As the audience, well, we're forced to pay attention, to take in and interpret what we're shown moment by moment. So, are you ready for a ride down Mystery Road? End.